From the Apupco Studios at Britton and Broadway, this is the OSU Sports Edition of the Bedlam Nation Conversation with Andrea Cohen. I'm Jenni Carlson. Andrea, let's start on the diamond. Baseball team, they're at Clemson, still there because they have a winner-take-all in the regional tonight after a pretty big loss last night. How are the Cowboys doing overall?
Well, the Cowboys kind of pulled the big upset in even getting into the tournament after not making their own conference tournament. To even get in was a big surprise, and some people were not big fans of it, which OSU really kind of seemed to enjoy, which may be part of why they came out, won 2 games, got into the winner's bracket, which is obviously where you want to be, much better situation. But yeah, last night they threw Blanford, their third guy, and he struggled, didn't last very long. They lost 15-1. So they got to win tonight. It'll be really interesting to see kind of who they throw and how things work out for them. But I mean, they kind of just exceeded expectations by winning there, getting in.
Yeah, I was going to say, at this point, is it a little bit, maybe not difficult, but sort of getting refocused with the idea that they're 1 win away from a super regional when everybody's just saying, hey, you should be happy to be here. That could be a tough mental hurdle to get over.
I think that they haven't really taken it as you should be happy to be here. I think it's a big chip on their shoulder. So it could be easier, it could be harder, but I do think that they kind of came out with a little bit more kind of fire than they had in recent games when they were kind of, they were playing all right. They just couldn't quite put together wins. They weren't winning any series. They had kind of struggled, not played terribly, but just not been pulling out the wins that they needed. And so I think that kind of helped them to get started there.
All right, we'll see how that goes tonight at 6 o'clock from Clemson. Let's turn our attention now to the track. A guy that keeps getting a lot of attention, German Fernandez. I know there are other Cowboys and Cowgirls out there doing stuff on the track.
Brian Vale and Merritt Dietz also qualify. We should say that.
Okay, but let's get back to German Fernandez because he's all everybody wants to talk about. He was, again, impressive in a distance at NCAA Regionals this last weekend that he's really not accustomed to.
He's accustomed to it. I wouldn't say he's not accustomed to it, but it's just not where his future is. Like, everybody knows that eventually he's going to be a really, really good 5,000, 10,000 runner. It's kind of a strategy that Dave Smith, the coach there, has taken, that he wants him to run the shorter races this year, and then they'll kind of build, kind of because you have the speed, and he could just power his way through the other races, and it's kind of teaching him more to run the 1,500. He won with ease on Saturday. Obviously, won his heat to get into the finals. It'll be interesting because it is a stacked field in nationals. And Dave Smith's trying to tell me, there's 3 or 4 guys who are more likely to win it. Well, we'll see. I'll be really curious. But, German Fernandez holds the indoor record, the NCAA indoor record at the mile, which is, the translation on the indoor track. Mm-hmm. So it'll be fun to see what he can do, kind of what happens with him.
So he's qualified in the 1,500. And
that's it.
That's it. So he has that shot to win a national championship this year.
Yep.
I'm sure the competitor in him will kick in a little bit too.
Yeah, and he'd been injured, and he's kind of gotten back to about right now. He's the guy he was the Big 12 Performer of the Year, and he ran 3 races. Yeah. So it's he's a pretty special talent. So it'll be interesting to see what he does.
Yeah. Let's turn our attention lastly to golf. The Cowboys go to NCAAs last week and have a great first few days leading the stroke play. Then they go into match play. How did that go? This was the first year for that format.
Match play, and it didn't go great for the Cowboys. They lost in the first round. They just had, 3 guys lost and 2 guys won, and strangely, it was their 2 freshmen who won. They got a lot of top players, and it's interesting because you would have thought that match play would have been a good situation for the Cowboys because they're so strong, 1-5. And then Texas A&M goes out and wins the title, and they beat Texas A&M in the Big 12. So I'm sure it's really frustrating for them to see that. But, it didn't quite pan out the way they were hoping.
That's a stacked roster. And like you said, a lot of young guys. Chances are good a lot of those guys are back next year.
It'll be interesting to see who stays and goes at the top, though, because some guys will obviously have some professional opportunities coming up.
Exactly. All right. Thanks, Andrea. Stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.